Well, I'm here on Zoomity Zoom with Courtney, having a chat about Run from Poverty. So, Courtney, I haven't done Run from Poverty before. I'm doing it this July, obviously, in my role as general manager, and really looking forward to it. But I know you have referenced Run from Poverty as something that was such a huge kind of defining experience, I guess, for you in your life and your journey. And so, yeah, why did you choose to go on it?
At the time, I was just looking for a challenge. I was
Hmm.
looking for a change. I was kind of in my career, I was really hungry to keep progressing, but kind of a little bit lost in a sense of, what's next?
Hmm.
Who am I? And really kind of what are my skills and what do I have to offer? And personally, I was just kind of looking for something. I didn't know what, and I'd been witnessing Dean, the founder's journey,
Mm.
and kind of excited and inspired and thought, I could never do this, and just put my name, put my hat in the ring. And it was definitely by far the best decision I've ever made.
Yeah.
Even to this day, nearly 6, 7 years on, it continually kind of it challenges me and is my anchor back to a pivotal point where it really changed me. So I
Mm.
think, yeah, the why I went on it was I was kind of looking for something to step out of my comfort zone, and it 100% did that.
Yeah. Okay. What what changed? Like when you go, it's an anchor point to that change. How would you describe that?
It's interesting because I always think about the experience itself and like,
Hmm.
was it, while I was over there, I kind of was just going through the motions and, it was an amazing experience and every day was different. But it wasn't until I got home that the light really kind of flicked on and it sunk
Hmm.
in around the experience that I'd had. Um,
Yeah. Okay.
and it was a series of, moments and memories and experiences that just really gave me a totally different outlook on
Hmm.
life, on who I am, and I suppose the power we all have as individuals. It kind of has brought me back to one of my favorite quotes is um, the power we have on others is the strongest currency there is. And
Yeah.
that it, going on that journey and going on the Run from Poverty experience really showed me the power of every individual human, no matter who we are.
Hmm.
Um, we have a big part to play, all of
Yeah.
us. And so
Yeah.
that has really, day to day, that is what really anchors me back.
Yeah. That's cool. Um, as you said, every day is different, and it's a pretty fast-paced program that runs over there. What were some of the standout moments that when you then reflected at being at home on what were some of those things that stood out to you or that yeah were highlights?
This might be a token answer, but literally every day.
Yeah,
And
I can understand why. Yeah.
but I think that's the great thing about how the experience is built is that every single day and every single element of the experience is a different lens. There's the kind of
Hmm.
personal challenge, there's the physical challenge, there's the emotional challenge, there's being in a third world country and experiencing things that you might not have ever experienced before. And so it was, I felt like I got to the end of each day and I was like, wow, that was amazing. And then you'd wake up and you'd have another day and you'd get to the end of that day and you'd be like, wow, that really topped yesterday. And so it's kind of built in a way that it's kind of got these segments of different experience and different exposure, and
Mm,
each one is almost just as impactful and important as the next. So I
yeah,
know it sounds token, but the experience in its entirety and the way that it's built,
yeah,
um, I felt like it's all a highlight.
yeah.
And each day really kind of pushed you to a whole new level. And
Hmm.
I felt that was the feedback from everybody that I was around on the trip. So it
Yeah.
is really a jam-packed, get you out of your comfort zone type of experience.
Yeah, for sure. Um, with the comfort zone and the stretching, uh, did part I'm imagining, oh no, I won't put words in your mouth. Did the fundraising prior to the trip stretch you and push you as well?
Yeah, yeah. I remember when we first started and you set, so when we first went, it was a $10,000 target.
Yeah.
And most of us had never really done fundraising apart from, shake a can for a few dollars or sell chocolate bars.
Yeah.
The thought of kind of going out to corporates or to, going out and asking for $1,000 was really scary. But as soon as I started, it almost became addictive in a sense. It became so exciting and exhilarating because you knew what you were fundraising for and you became really connected to the purpose. And it was like, you kind of became hungry for it. And the more that you brought other people on the journey and shared about One Heart and shared about why you're going, it was a real stretch. And it also became, it kind of opened my eyes to how generous people are as well.
Yeah.
And it's all, the answer's always no until you ask. And as soon as you started kind of talking to people and asking people, it was like, oh, sure, I'll give you $5,000. And it really blows you away about how people want to get connected to something bigger and they do want to be part of something and helping others. Generally speaking, humans are really kind people. And so it opened my eyes to that. And it also, from a professional sense, it really pushed me in my career. It put me in front of clients that I wouldn't have been in front of, creating events and, doing all sorts of things that it just gave me a reason to kind of step into that. So it was actually really powerful in that sense as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's one of the things is that it's not just one result that you get out of doing and like participating in an experience like this. It really does go across the entirety of your life, and impacts how you engage with people and the skills that you gain, or refine. If some of these things for some people they might be like, oh, yeah, that's easy, like I've done that before, or it's a personality thing too for them. They might be, yeah, I've got no problem asking for that. But there'll be other things that for them are a stretch and that, then create change and growth across other parts of their life. So how did it feel when you reached your goal? Like both fundraising and then running and all of those parts?
It was, at the time, I must say, it was kind of like, oh, like, did it? It kind of just, it wasn't, you you kind of don't want to gloat in a sense, but it was in the following months after that when it was like, wow, I really did that. Because you don't, sometimes it feels
let
awkward
it soak
talking
in.
about your achievements, but it was in that coming home and reflecting on, wow, I just ran half a marathon and I've never really run in my life, or I just went to a third world country and participated in this experience, or just smashed the target and raised thousands of dollars. It felt, an incredible sense of achievement, but it was really after the fact, where it sunk in.
Yeah, yeah. The experience goes on beyond just the time that you're there.
Yeah, and I think too, seeing it with your own eyes, I think one of the most powerful things for me was, I was lucky enough to work with Dean in my role at CHC. So I'd heard about One Heart on a daily occurrence, and fundraising for 6 months leading up. It's you kind of in the throw of it. But it was when we landed and halfway through the trip when we actually went to the village, and you're on the ground and you're in the village and you see the kids, that it's in that moment that you go, what I was working towards is going towards this. And that sense of achievement when it becomes not about you and it becomes someone else, that was actually probably the kind of the light bulb.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I was going to ask, what was it like being there on the ground and connecting with the kids and like doing something practical and tangible as well while you're there?
That was the best bit. Like just spending time with the kids, spending time with the people that the result of, I suppose, what you're putting your heart and soul and your time into, and that it's a person's life. And whether it was from such a young age of the really young kids through to the house parents and the adults and the community members, that was the most enjoyable and exciting part, is connecting with them and just being part of that journey with them. And I think I was, going back, I've been really lucky to go back and visit after that experience, and that going back and connecting with them again, and they remember and they talk about the impact that you had. That is like, there's kind of nothing you can put on the value of that.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's one of those things, isn't it? Like, I know I've got people in my life that have sacrificed and sown into me and poured parts of their heart and soul into me in different ways. Obviously, not in a I need money to survive, or I'm living with poverty in any shape or form, but still areas of your heart and soul that need encouragement and things. And I think about the connection that I've got with those people and the gratitude. And I think, even just having been over there recently, that's something that you see in the kids' hearts, is that they genuinely feel the sense of love that comes from people who live on the other side of the planet and have never met them before that moment. And not that you do it for the reward, you do it because they're beautiful humans who deserve a life without poverty, like, just because that's a human right. But when you get there and you see the gratitude and the love and that sense of connection, it's like, man, every single moment, every training run that you just felt like crying because it's like, it's too hard, I don't want to do it anymore. Or every moment of apprehension before going to somebody and asking them to sponsor you or to donate. Every single one becomes worth it, and you do it 1,000 times over. Because you see the light in these kids' eyes, that you've given them hope that they didn't have before coming into One Heart, and you've been a part of that process. And I don't know, that's just my personal reflections of and I haven't even been for the run itself as an event yet, but what it's like. And I don't know if you can relate, but
yeah, no, 100%. And I think in that moment of, like, when you are sitting there playing on the swings with a child and you're both laughing and looking into each other's eyes, you're not a successful business owner from Australia, or you're two humans connecting. And I think that was the kind of thing for me, is that it neutralizes everything, and it does really show you that effect that we have on others, and you never really know, you will never understand the power or the effect that you've had on someone. And so it is that opportunity to just connect and kind of be who you are and invest in people and humans. And that was this amazing thing about these kids, is that they almost invest in you. So it goes both ways.
100%. And that, I think you put it beautifully, like that connection as humans, like all barriers are gone, and it's just about celebrating, the gift that each human is to the planet, and imagine a world where everyone was actually able to fulfill their potential and live within that. It'd just be a completely different planet.
They have a lot to teach us too. Like, that's the thing. Being over there, and they're so happy, and they're so dedicated to learning and to growing. And so we were all over there thinking, what can we bring and how can we help them? But I think a lot of us left going, oh wow, we really took a lot away from that.
Yeah, absolutely. People have asked me to describe, like, my most recent trip, and I know Dean has spoken about this every time he gets back. What's the trip like? And it's like, how do you even put it into words? Because it is life-changing. And I don't think that changes no matter how many times you go back. Particularly if you're intentional about being present with what you're doing, not just kind of going through the process. But could you try to sum up Run from Poverty in a word, in a sentence or two? I'm giving you an impossible task, but give me your best shot.
I think I do hear a lot of people say life-changing, but one thing I've really taken away is, you don't necessarily go and come back and your whole life's changed, but what I think it does is it really empowers you to change your life. It really
Yeah.
gives you, whether it's, you know, a perspective or a re-energize or, you know, an outlook that you needed to see, or, you know, a moment of reflection of, you know, who you are and why you're here, whatever it may be. It really allows you to change your life if you want to grab hold of that. And so it is life changing, but in a different way, in a sense. So
Yeah.
I think I
Yeah.
always think people say, you know, what did you get out of it? And I always think, you know, what wouldn't I have got out of it? Where would I be if I didn't go? That's kind of like, because I just can't imagine, you know, everything that's come from that experience. I just question, like, where would I be if I didn't go? Where would my mind, you know, have not expanded to? So it really has completely changed the course, I believe, for me.
Yeah. Wow. It's a really fascinating way to look at it, but a really powerful, you know, question to ask as well, in that. And I think, yeah, our circumstances haven't changed when we get home. And I think, to your point, like, our life is in many ways the same, but your perspective, who you are, and how you approach things, can be completely shifted, if you kind of engage with the process and let it shift and mold and shape and grow and stretch and expand. You know, like you say, your mind, your heart, your very being. So yeah.
And I wouldn't say it's a one-time thing. Like, I've been lucky enough to go to Kenya twice, and it like changes you in a thousand ways, you know, the next time that you go. And so I feel like, you know, growing and learning and evolving is not, you don't get there and tick a box.
Oh, no.
Like, if you go with that mindset that, you know, you constantly have the opportunity to understand, you know, who you are, and find another layer of yourself to bring to everything else. I'd go 1,000 times, because I think the growth is endless, really.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I think that's just life in general. Like, one of the thoughts I keep coming back to is that life isn't accumulation of high points or low points. It's accumulation primarily of very ordinary day-to-day moments. And, you know, that's definitely the bulk of our life and existence. And how do we see those? And I think an experience like Run from Poverty, which is an extended, you know, kind of, experience. It's not just one moment or one day of an event. It's a good, you know, chunk of time, but it can really shift how you perceive those moment to moments, and the power that exists in those, to impact the people around you, as well as, you know, impact your own world. So
100%. Yeah. And I would say to people, like, it's not often that you get an experience where you can fully immerse yourself in something. Like, we're all so busy, and to, you know, go and be 10 days of full immersive, you know, out of your day to day, that is a huge privilege. And like that in itself, to totally disconnect from, you know, what you do day to day and who you are, and you know, the family stuff and the work stuff, to be 100% immersed in something like that is, I'd really encourage people to think like that is, don't underestimate that, even if, you know, the run is something you're not excited by, or there's huge power in that too.
Yeah, totally. Just that disconnecting and seeing something different. Super powerful. Yeah. So, coming again, are you sending Al next time?
Yeah.
Time for hubby
Yes.
to go. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Courtney, just for having a good chat. But yeah, I think it's been really, insightful, and I'm just so thankful, for all the work that you've put in over the years, to One Heart, but also, for the impact that it's been able to have on your life. So thank you. We'll chat soon.
Thank you. It's exciting,
Yeah.
all the other people's lives that will be changed too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Thanks.
Awesome. All right. See ya.
Bye.